Welcome back, everybody, to Blue Collar Media Group headquarters right here in Orlando, Florida. My name is Patrick Carr. I'm the president of Blue Collar Media Group, and we love getting together with these monologues with you. Talk about things that are going on in the media world, things that we see out there in the field, hopefully to help entrepreneurs who are beginning their content creation journey, videographers and other media companies. Heck, we all could learn from one another. And today's episode is a very special one for me. Now, usually I talk about things that we learn out in the field, videos that we're creating, but today is a unique one. So if you want to get a chance to learn me a little bit more, you're going to learn it right here. Because I think this is a unique story that a lot of us need to hear. Because when I started Blue Collar Media Group, I didn't have any experience in the media space. I had zero. And so I hope over the next couple of minutes, if you're somebody out there that is struggling in your journey, maybe you're not sure what to do, maybe you're in your 30s or even your 40s and you feel like you're lost, my hope is that the next few minutes give you a little bit of hope that you're not alone, that you can start from nothing and you can make it and you can fall and you can get back up again. I often tell people here, and you've heard it on this show and others, that it's okay to fail, but it is not okay to give up. And I'd like to think so far in my journey along this media world that I'd like to think that I've done exactly that. And so I want you to understand how it all started, because this company didn't start with anything. It started with me $50,000 in debt. At the time, I was living in a condo that was being foreclosed on. I didn't have a washer and dryer that worked. There was no TV. There was nothing. I have pictures of it, which I've shown before. And I came home to a notice on my door that I was going to have to be kicked out in 2 weeks. The bank was taking this particular unit back. And I was going to have to leave. And it was shortly there before that I had left a company that wasn't doing things the right way. And they weren't in the media space. They were a funding company, and I had been in charge of social media and selling. And so I had done some stuff on social, but I had just left that company. No idea what I was going to do. Now, when I had left that company, I called around to a few people and told them why I was leaving, and they had said, well, why don't you do for us on social media what you did for them? You know, Patrick, we don't blame you for what that company's doing. Why don't you try it? And so here I was trying to figure that all out within just a couple of days. And in that amount of time, I get a notice on the door saying they're going to kick me out. And I didn't have anything. I had no money. I had nothing to start the business with. I had no idea what to even charge somebody for the services. And I remember the first client that I had in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was Eco Restore. Josh, if you watch this, you probably don't even know if you were the first client. And Josh will remember this, but on my way to Eco Restore on the side of 95 going north in Florida along the East Coast, my car broke down. And I didn't know way to get anywhere. I had zero money. And so they had to come pick me up. And they had to come pick me up in a truck for that company and bring me there. And I made some excuse about my keys being locked in the car or something. And I remember that day I had no equipment. I didn't know how to run a camera. I didn't even know what an SD card was or a lens or what kinds of cameras would work. I had absolutely no idea. And nor did I have the money to even buy them. I had a videographer with my previous company, and they had been the ones to do all the content, and he had been the one to shoot it and edit it. I just stood in front of the camera. And so I remember showing up that day with my cell phone, and the only thing I had thought to say is that I'm going to teach people how to use their cell phone on the first day, the sales reps in this company, to create better content. And the only way that I'd learned that is the couple of days before that weekend, I had watched YouTube and tried to download apps that would allow me to somewhat edit a video from a phone. And I think it was like Power Director, and there was something called something Captions at the time. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I don't know. I made my way through a presentation, showed some people a few apps and some things that I had learned and written down from YouTube. And Josh wrote me a check. I think it was for some like $3,800 or $4,000. And at the time, that was an immense amount of money for me. I mean, it was life-changing. And with that money, I bought a lens. Surprisingly, I think, is this the 85? So yeah, this lens right here. I bought. It was the wrong lens to buy. I went to Colonial Photo and Hobby, and I bought this in an A7 III, and that's what I was going to go to town with. I did some outside shoots that would follow that with no ND filter, not even understanding what the heck that was. I was not a professional. I was just trying to get by. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was just trying to build relationships and find a way to make ends meet. I think that that's maybe what some of us are all trying to do out there. And I failed over and over again. I got lucky enough to where some of the people that I worked with were just kind to me. They were nice because I told them I just screwed up. And if you're beginning your journey, I would tell you to not lie. Just tell people when you screw up. Tell them the truth. If some of you know the A7 III, there's a cutoff, a file limit on an A7 III. If you had those, it's around 24 minutes. I remember one time I had that A7 III with the 85, and I rented one. It was like 4 months in. And I rented another one, and I was going to do a podcast with someone. I was going to interview them, and it was going to go back and forth. So I went and I hit the record button on both A7 IIIs. I sat down in my chair. I hoped that the autofocus worked like it told me it would on YouTube. And I began the interview. At the end of the 49 or 50-minute interview, I went and both cameras had turned off. And I didn't realize that halfway through, both cameras turned off because there was some file limit on the A7 III. Imagine that, being hired for $2,000 to do this big interview and story. And you don't even know how a camera works enough to tell your client it shuts off. Heck, at the time, I didn't even know it. So I learned, and I told the client, and they allowed me to come back and to try it again. And even though it was embarrassing, I did it. And there's probably 100 mistakes that I made up until then. I've lost probably countless relationships. I may lose another, who knows, trying to make this thing work. And you do it all because you want to try to do best for the people in your company. And that becomes, I think, the motivation over time, is that you do it in the beginning for yourself, and then you end up wanting to do it for other people. You want to do it for your clients if you're a good person because you want them to look amazing and they give you money. And then you want to do it for your employees because you realize that they're good people and that they want to try hard. And your business will go up and down. Your offer will be wrong, and for a year you'll do something in the wrong direction, and you'll look at yourself and you go, how was I such a screw up that I couldn't figure that out, what somebody else could figure out in just 2 minutes of looking at my business? You'll have coaches that tell you you're not doing it right. You'll have accountants tell you that you don't understand money. You'll have videographers that you hire that tell you you don't know a thing about it and you're old or whatever else they want to tell you because they understand it better than you. Over and over again, if you do this business, you're going to get beat up. And there's nobody that you can call. There's not another media company down the street or video production company that's going to help you through it. In the end, all you're going to have is you. And if there's anything else that I would tell you, if you're beginning in this world or if you're beginning a small business, is that this one began with absolutely nothing. $50,000 in debt. I've taken out loans for hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've had to pay back. I've leveraged my car, my life. I've slept on the couch many times. I've had the electricity turned off in my place because I couldn't pay the bills just to make sure that we can make payroll. You won't have people that see the sacrifices you make until they tell you that you're an overnight success, or they tell you that you made it, or they tell you that, you know what, man, it must be nice. I think that as you go through the journey of building any media company or anything that's worth a damn, what you will figure out is that the person you become when you're building that thing is far more valuable than the content that you're going to create or the clients that you're going to serve. And so if you are out there and you're beginning your journey, if you've been knocked down a few damn times and you thought about giving it up, if you don't think you're any good or you've been told by somebody else that you're not worthy, let this show be a reminder to you that you are great and that you are meant to do something great. I think we all are in this world, and especially you. And that the greatest stories are the ones where people get up off the mat. It's not the ones that are always the champions. It's the ones who make the comeback story. And if you're in that place now, I encourage you to get up off that mat and to make the comeback story for yourself. The media world is tough. There's a lot of competition. You're undervalued and underappreciated right now. But if you keep after it and you hone those skills and you become better at your craft, you'll be appreciated for the work that you do for other people. And it's selfless what you do every day. And it will be worth it because you're going to be doing something that makes other people great and you're going to be giving to others. And in my opinion, that's a purposeful life worth pursuing. So that's how Blue Collar Media Group got started. Not some great story about me in some college somewhere learning film or sitting there on some Marvel superhero set somewhere making it, but rather just somebody who needed to make ends meet, needed somewhere to live, needed money to get his car towed somewhere, and then bought some Sony 85 lens right here and an A7 III camera and tried to make it work years later. So wherever you are, try to remember that story, keep pressing forward, and don't give up. My name is Patrick Carr, and this is Blue Collar Media Group.